Hey Garage! Well, you might have watched the video on the Jeep Cherokee that we bought from the city of Columbia, Tennessee. And here's a link to that. That shows me driving it, but it didn't show me what we had to do. So if you remember back, here's what the problem was with the Jeep Cherokee. That ain't good. They drove that thing so long that there was no way to drive it home, so I had to wreck or bring it back. And here's my starting of the repair on the Jeep Cherokee. I knew that the water pump was out, and we'll see if there's anything else going on with it. First thing I want to do is get this electric fan out of the way. So we'll get the bolts out of the top. There we go. Got the fan out. Now we can take our bracket off that holds on the tensioner. Next thing I'm going to do is get all these tools and piece parts out of here, and we're going to degrease the crap out of it. Just because that'll help diagnose anything down the road. Alright, after washing it down, this is the next morning, and it's starting to pretty much dry off. It looks much better, cleaner. I don't know what this is. Maybe try to get that off later, who knows. But here's the water pump, and you can see that it is really, really bad. So we're going to be working on it. With everything out of the way, you can really see it well. And we got to get this pipe off, which that's sometimes a huge issue. Pain in the butt. First thing we got to do is drain the radiator. I already used my Milwaukee 3/8 impact and a 1/2 inch socket to take off the cover. These 4 bolts. Now we're down to the water pump. Wow, that is... You think it's bad? Amazingly, it's not leaking out of the front, which is surprising, but the thing is all over the place. Alright, so we got to take out... We got to get this hose off, this bypass tube. Then we've got to take the other bolts off, and then we should have the water pump off. So here's our new one. And it looks pretty. Usually what I do is I'll take the bolts out and put them where they go in the new one, because a lot of times on water pumps the depths are different on the different bolts. So once I get all the bolts loosened up, I just take them off and I'll put them in the appropriate holes for the water pump, because it looks like, actually, when you look at this, there's actually 3 different sizes. Maybe 4, who knows. But anyway, I know that I've got the bolts in the right spot, and we can go ahead and see if this baby will come off. I've loosened up this hose at the top on the bypass, and there she is. And there is one bad water pump. Now I'm going to see if I can get this bypass tube, clean it up, shoot a little paint on it. Then we should be able to start cleaning up our housing and getting ready to put the new water pump back on. Got the bypass cleaned up and painted. It looks super good. I'm going to wash off the fan. Yuck. All the other stuff. I'll spray down right where the timing marks are, and we'll be ready to let it dry out and get ready to reinstall after we clean off the mating surfaces. Okay, this mating surfaces looks great. I got it cleaned off really well. I'm going to spray it down one more time, get all this residue and stuff from sanding it off. Then we should be ready to put the new one back on. One more thing while we're in here, we might as well go ahead and put a new thermostat in because we're right here at it. We're cleaning and wiping off and all that garbage. So let's go ahead and take this housing off and we'll put in a new thermostat. Well, in every life, a little rain must fall. You can see the heater control valve here. I was pulling on this hose just a little bit. And it snapped it off here. And they get brittle after time, so I'm going to have to get another heater control valve. Dang it! Now, I want you to notice which way your thermostat is in here. The pointy part comes out. Don't try to put it in backwards. Come on, guys. We're going to take this out, clean that mating surface off. Awesome. There's our new Duralast thermostat, and you know what? You can buy them from AutoZone or O'Reilly's or anywhere. Thermostats are pretty much thermostats, so don't worry about buying something from crappy AutoZone. It'll be fine. And we got a Duralast battery because they're about the same too. So we're going to go ahead and get the gasket ready to put on the thermostat. And there she is. Beautiful. All right, so we're about to put her in our gasket. And what I would tell you about that is I see so many people take silicone and just slather the crap out of it. Silicone's going everywhere. We don't need that. All we need is a little bit of Indian head shellac. It's real thin, it's real cheap. And you basically just want to, it's kind of like a glue really. And you just want to go over with the applicator across the mating surface, right, of where your gasket's going to go. And this keeps it from moving around too. You know, with silicone it'll still shift around for, you know, 2-3 hours. With this stuff, once you get the gasket on there, it's going to glue it down and not move. And that's what I like about this. The gasket's thick enough. You don't need a bunch of silicone on there. Come on, really? You're going to set it on there. Line up your holes. You can take a bolt and make sure that it's lined up. And then just let it dry for a few minutes. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing with my water pump. With the gasket on it, I'll go ahead and put some shellac on it, get the gasket glued down, and then when we're ready to put it on, it'll be good and sturdy and won't move around on us. Okay, the gasket's dried up pretty good. It's not going to move. Feels great. Make sure bolts go in. And before you put it all back together, make sure to put a little anti-seize on your bolts, because you will have to take this off one day and you will be glad that you put a little bit of anti-seize on the ends of your bolts. This is copper anti-seize. And it'll keep these bolts from breaking off when you try to take the stupid thing back out. So we'll go ahead and put our thermostat housing back on. We'll tighten her back up. Feels good. Don't kill it. Our water pump, the gasket is dried up on it good. It's ready to go back on. I wanted to show you this old water pump, how bad it is. You can see on the inner surface where this is actually, the impeller is actually scraping on that metal where it's able to move back and forth, and you can see like the marks on it. So yeah, that's probably why this thing was squealing like a pig. But you can see just through my thumb how bad that bearing is in the front, and that can cause a whole bunch of grief. Alright, so that looks great. Now I can go ahead and put my bolts in. I've got thread sealing, I've got anti-seize put on them, and we'll go ahead and zip this thing back on. We'll put our bolts back into the appropriate holes, because they really are different sizes on these. Alright, at this point I get to go to the parts store again to get another heater valve. And they're not that expensive, they're like 28 bucks, so not so bad at all. Evidently they break pretty easily. I'm going to do a little cleanup and then we're going to button the rest of it back up and we're going to test fire this thing. It's looking good though, that's for sure. Now because that old water pump was bad and there was some metal coming out of it, I'm going to go ahead and flush out the radiator and the block before I refill it with antifreeze. Just let the hose run a little bit, get it all flushed out. There wasn't a huge amount of metal in it, but you know there was a little bit because it was grinding on there. Alright, the water's running pretty clear, so it's about time to close that off and let the rest of it just drain on out. Looks great. Water pump looks beautiful. Look at that. How beautiful is that? Awesome. Still working on the water pump, but you can see the tires need a little bit of air. Zachary's got the sea foam! He's going to go ahead and open that up, and we're going to pour that down in the gas tank when it's got about a quarter tank, half tank, and we're going to clean out the injectors because we don't know how long it's been sitting, and then we'll get some fuel in it. Alright, I got everything else put back on except for this shroud, which disintegrated. I'll have to get another one, or Zachary will be handless. You know, that'll be okay. You don't mind, do you? No, he's okay with that. Alright, we're going to put some antifreeze in it, crank it up, see what happens. I've got the new valve put in after it snapped that off. Here's what's left of the shroud. Awesome. Alright, antifreeze, and then we're going to start it. Devin's here! He's got his Jeep, the show Jeep. The show Jeep. Sure enough looks bad. Alright, he's going to be cameraman for us starting up this Cherokee. There we go.
Got it.
You got it? Alright, now be careful because, you know, this is a very high, sophisticated piece of equipment there.
Very high end.
Well, she starts.
Here we go. Everybody stand back. Wow.
I had to take the camera back. Heck yeah, got a little exhaust leak, sounds like. Pretty normal. But overall, runs really pretty smooth, especially after spraying everything off. There's that smoke coming off of where I put the cleaner on it. But runs good.
Actually sounds pretty smooth.
Yeah, sounds really smooth. Smells better than yours. Huh? Let's start your 4.0 and this 4.0 and see the difference.
Have a 4.0 off?
No, let's not. I've heard yours run. Well, I sprayed it off. It had a little oil on the other side. May have a valve cover leak, but man, she's running smooth. I had the grill off. I'm going to probably clean it off and paint that and the two doors. Or not, I don't know. I may just stick it back on there. Probably just stick it back on. But man, this is a smooth running 4.0, man, I'm telling you. What do you think, Will?
I like it.
All right. Wow. And the water pump was a success. The shroud, not so much. I'm gonna have to get another shroud. Maybe a pull apart. I got a bunch of them, or fiberglass it back together. Heck, I don't know. Heck, the air conditioner even works. It's a little bit low on coolant. I'll put a little bit of Freon in it, but it's actually cooling now before I did anything to it. So how awesome is that? Well, there you go, man. That thing ran like a scalded dog. I was tickled to death. This truck ran like a top. I couldn't be more happy with a $1,500 truck. If you can buy one for $1,500 and put a water pump on it, and a new belt, and then drive it down the road, you're doing pretty dang good. So anyway, we're using it in my business. It's running great, and it's one more Jeep 4.0 that I get to work on when things go wrong. I can tell you that that's a really durable motor, and hopefully we'll get years of use out of it. We're going to be getting into something else here pretty soon. Just keep watching, and thank you for being a subscriber. I'm David from the Redneck Garage. Keep turning wrenches.